Well, hey there, everyone. I'm meteorologist Hannah Fink, and thank you so much for joining us for Next Weather. Over the past few weeks, we've seen quite a bit of severe weather across the entire United States and even here locally across the Gulf Coast. Now, as we move deeper into spring, this is something we begin to pay more closer attention to, especially through the months of March through May, April being the peak month of severe weather season. So I feel like this is a good time to kind of discuss what all goes into severe weather season, what we use to communicate severe weather through the Storm Prediction Center, severe weather outlooks, what exactly that all means, just to give you a better understanding on why we're telling you what we're telling you and why it is important to know. So I made a presentation here that we're going to jump right into. So here we go. So this is the first slide right here. So we're going to get right into it. So let's take a moment to break down what severe weather actually is first. So who is responsible for forecasting it at the national level and how you can interpret the outlooks that you may see in the forecast we present to you day by day. So what is exactly severe weather? What is that term? Well, in meteorological sense, thunderstorms are classified as severe when they produce one or more specific hazards. That includes wind gusts of 58 miles or greater, 58 miles per hour or greater, hail that is 1 inch in diameter or larger, which is roughly the size of a quarter, or a tornado. So now even storms that don't officially meet those severe criteria can still bring dangerous conditions, frequent lightning, heavy rainfall, flash flooding, and gusty winds. But when storms reach those specific thresholds, those are considered severe and pose a greater threat to life and property. So who exactly monitors these threats across the country? Well, that responsibility falls largely on the Storm Prediction Center, often referred to as the SPC. I'm sure you've heard us talk about that on air a lot, referring to Storm Prediction Center or SPC. Well, the SPC is a part of the National Weather Service, which operates under the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. Meteorologists at the Storm Prediction Center analyze weather patterns across the entire United States around the clock. Their job is to identify areas where the atmosphere may become favorable for severe thunderstorms days in advance. So one of the main tools they use to communicate the risk is something called a severe weather outlook. Now, another thing they are in charge of doing is also helping the National Weather Service offices locally issue severe thunderstorm watches, tornado watches, and even mesoscale discussions. Meteorologist Nicholas Soboso and I refer to them a lot whenever we are live streaming on air. The top left corner, that is the tornado watch. That is an example of us showing one. And then the mesoscale discussion, those usually help us determine what is happening before it's happening. So a good example of this is a previous situation, our previous severe weather situation is we had a mesoscale discussion come out. They can come out quite quickly. So like they'll come out 15 minutes, be like, hey, we're probably going to do this. We're probably going to issue this tornado watch. We're probably going to issue the severe thunderstorm watch. Or hey, this is an area that we are watching for development of thunderstorms. So this can come out hours in advance or about 15, 30, 45 minutes in advance. So these kind of help us figure out what exactly they are thinking and what's going to happen ahead or if things are going to be issued. So one thing I did want to say is meteorologists at the Storm Prediction Center do analyze these weather patterns through ingredients, we'll call it. There is a lot of ingredients that go on in the atmosphere that help determine severe weather. That's instability, wind shear, CAPE, moisture, you name it. There's a lot that goes into analyzing atmospheric components that go into severe weather, and that helps us come up with the severe weather outlook. Now, this is a day 3 example of a severe weather outlook. These outlooks help show where severe weather could develop and how likely it may be. They're designed to give communities, emergency managers, and meteorologists a heads up, basically, as to what could occur with severe thunderstorms or if storms ever do form. So the important thing to understand here is that outlooks don't guarantee, I'm going to say that again, don't guarantee severe weather will occur. Instead, they highlight areas where conditions in the atmosphere could support storms capable of becoming severe. To make these forecasts easier to understand, the Storm Prediction Center uses 5 risk levels. There's 1, which is the lowest end, and then 5, which is the highest end. We have a marginal, which is a level 1, a slight, which is a level 2, an enhanced, which is a level 3, a moderate, which is a level 4, and 5, which is high, the highest level. So we're going to break down what each one of those means. A level 1 risk, also known as a marginal risk, means isolated storms are possible, but they're expected to be limited in coverage or intensity. Some of the things that could happen with that are winds of 40 to 60 miles per hour, hail up to an inch in diameter, and or a brief tornado. You don't have to have all three. We do have some situations where a tornado risk isn't possible, and sometimes it's just a wind threat. So those are some things to keep in mind. Now, a slight risk, also known as level 2, means scattered severe storms could occur. This is a fairly common category during the spring here along the Gulf Coast. Things that could occur in a slight risk is wind damage, so damaging winds of 60 to about 70 miles per hour, hail of about an inch, and then 1 or 2 brief tornadoes. Now we're going to get higher up. We're going to now go into an enhanced risk, which is a level 3, which means numerous severe storms are possible and the overall coverage and intensity of storms may increase. So this means there's going to be several reports of wind damage, damaging hail of 1 to 2 inches, and a few tornadoes. Some of them could be brief, some of them could be tornadoes that actually touch down. Now, I think you're sensing kind of the pattern as we go up here. Now, a moderate risk, which is a level 4, suggests widespread severe storms with the potential for significant impact. So widespread wind damage, destructive hail approximately about 2 inches or more, and then strong tornadoes that can be EF2s or greater. And then finally, the level 5 risk, or known as a high risk, is reserved for major severe weather outbreaks. These are rare and only issued a few times each year across the country. So what this refers to, derechos, that is high speed, damaging wind speed events where this line comes through and it's gusting about 80 miles per hour, sometimes even more. Usually your phone will go off for storms like these. We'll get a severe thunderstorm warning when you get that emergency alert. You don't get those for every severe thunderstorm warning, but when you have wind speeds of 75 or greater, that's usually when that occurs, because that can be life-threatening, very destructive hail that can ruin property or harm lives of approximately 2 inches or more in diameter, and then a tornado outbreak. In addition to these overall risks, the Storm Prediction Center also highlights more intense severe weather possible. Now, this is a new thing they're doing. This hatch marks, we have the dotted, we have the zigzag, and then we have the cross. Now, these are new ways to highlight intensity. One thing I do want to know is this is an example that they actually put out when introducing this to us as meteorologists. So for tornadoes, meteorologists look for environments that could produce stronger tornadoes, such as those rated EF2 or higher on the enhanced Fujita scale, which measures tornado strength based on damage. For hail, significant hail events typically involve stones 2 inches in diameter or larger, which can easily damage vehicles, roofs, and crops. And when it comes to wind, forecasts highlight storms capable of producing 75-mile-per-hour winds gusts or stronger, which can cause tree damage and power outages similar to what you might see in a weak hurricane. Now, these are often shown with hatched markings on severe weather map outlooks, indicating that stronger or more significant severe weather could develop with the broader risk area. So usually it'll be over an area. So like in this case, you can see it's primarily with the yellow there. Well, there's an area that is likely to have a greater risk of that than the probability itself. So the risk could be greater than the probability itself. Now, it's not guaranteed it's going to happen. It just is the atmospheric conditions or ingredients are lining up to be more favorable in this area. Now, for tornadoes, there are 3 different intensity marks. There's the hatch marks, the diagonal marks, and the cross marks. Now with hail and wind, there's only 2. There's the diagonal and the hatched marks. So that's one thing to note there. Now, while understanding these outlooks is important, being prepared ahead of time is just as critical for severe weather season as well. One of the most important things you can do is stay weather aware. During the spring months, check the forecast regularly and pay attention to updates if severe weather is possible. So that means staying up to date with us here during Fox 10 News broadcast. We have a free Fox 10 weather app where we're posting constant updates when there is severe weather, and also following us on our social media pages. We always post updates there as well. Another good one is the National Weather Service here in Mobile. They have their own social media pages as well. They post frequently on there. They have a website that's also quite useful, and having a NOAA weather radio is also helpful for getting those alerts firsthand. So that is one thing that is good to have, and it's also a good idea to have multiple ways to receive alerts. This can include that NOAA weather radio I just mentioned, wireless emergency alerts on your phone, or local television and trusted meteorologists like here at Fox 10 News. So our weather app also sends you these alerts. We'll go live on air for things such as tornado warnings. We'll live stream on Facebook for severe weather events as well if they haven't gotten to tornadic activity, because we want to make sure you are safe and you have somebody trusted to ask your questions too. Another key thing is knowing where your safe place is when storms arrive. The safest location during a tornado warning is usually the lowest level of your home, an interior room, or away from windows. This could be hallways, closets, or a bathroom near the center of your house. But if you live in a mobile home, which many people do, it's important to have a plan to move to a sturdier shelter immediately when severe weather threatens. Now, a lot of places have their own shelters in mobile home parks, or having that friend that you can call, or knowing kind of the area you're in. If you're vacationing here, knowing what store, gas station, or restaurant is nearby, kind of having an idea or a picture of where you would evacuate to. But you should also consider putting a basic emergency kit together that includes items like flashlights, extra batteries, a portable phone charger, bottled water, and basic first aid kits. And also shoes are very important as well, especially if there's damage. You don't want to be stepping on any debris. And finally, having a family plan so everyone in your household knows where to go and what to do if severe weather does become an issue. Now remember, when a watch is issued, it means conditions are favorable for severe weather to develop. Now when a warning is issued, severe weather is either happening or about to happen, and that's when you need to take action immediately. So a watch is when you need to prepare. A warning is when you need to take action now. So as we continue through the spring months, we're just now at the beginning here along the Gulf Coast, understanding severe weather risks and staying prepared can go a long way towards keeping you and your family safe.